Hi again. So in this video, we are going to use the marginal rate of substitution to actually solve some problems. This is the second part of a two-part series. So if you haven't watched the first marginal rate of substitution video, go and do that right now. All right, so from that Marginal Revolution University video, the punchline of that video was that a consumer chooses optimally when they choose the point where the price ratio is equal to the marginal rate of substitution, where the budget constraint is tangent to the indifference curve. Yeah, that was the point of that video. And in the previous video, we talked about what the marginal rate of substitution is mathematically, and we also talked about how you calculate it. In this video, we're going to talk about how do you use that relationship, MRS equals the price ratio, to actually solve some problems. So the punchline of the last video is that the marginal rate of substitution is equal to the ratio of the marginal utilities. And we ended that video by doing an example problem of a utility function x to the a, y to the b, and calculating the marginal rate of substitution. And if you remember that, what we did is we first calculated the marginal utility of x, and then the marginal utility of y. We put them over one another, we simplified, and we come to this expression where the marginal rate of substitution was equal to a over b times y over x. All right, continuing with that example problem. Suppose, for simplicity's sake, that a is equal to b is equal to 0.5. Now, suppose that a person has $10 exactly to spend on x and y, and the price of x is $1 and the price of y is $2. How much x and y should they buy? So here's the problem. So we've got the marginal rate of substitution here, and I've got the price ratio here, and I've got my income, and now the question is, how much x and y should this person purchase? All right, so the MRU video said that at the optimal point, the MRS is equal to the price ratio. Right? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And remember, a is equal to b is equal to 0.5, so I can just sort of cancel that term out. So now I have y over x is equal to 1 over 2. So let's rearrange that, make it easier to use. So I'm going to move the 2 over here so I know that 2y equals x. Okay, what do I do next? The next thing I need is the expression for my budget constraint, because that tells me exactly how much money I have to spend. So remember, the budget constraint is I equals px x plus p y y. And that makes sense, right? Because on the left-hand side, I have how much money I have to spend. And on the right-hand side, px times x, well, that's how much money I spend on x. And py times y, well, that's how much money I spend on y. So the amount of money that I spend on x plus the amount of money I spend on y, that's equal to my income. All right, so I can use this expression, and so I have 10 equals px, so the price of x was 1, so that's just x, plus pyy, and the price of y was 2, and y is 2. So now I have a system of two equations and two unknowns, right? I have a system of two equations and two unknowns. And now I just have to solve the puppy. Okay, so the way I'm going to solve it is I'm going to see that this x here looks awfully similar to that x there. So I'm going to plug that in. So now I have 10 equals, instead of x, I'm going to use here 2y plus 2y, which equals 4y, which means that y is equal to 10 over 4. Simplify even further, 5 over 2. Sweet. And then in order to get x, I can just plug back in there. So I know that x is equal to 2y. I know that y is equal to 5 over 2, so that's 2y. Well, those 2's just cancel out, and so now I know that x is equal to 5. Cool. That's the end of this video. See you later. Bye.